G'day YouTube, g'day bikers. Well, we made the decision and pulled the trigger. We bought a Honda GB350. I love the sound and feel of a long-stroke, air-cooled, four-stroke engine, and with fins on the motor for cooling and chrome exhaust like those that were common in the 70s, it looks great too. It is also true in character and appearance to the bikes I remember growing up. The GB350 is a slow chugger of a thumper. It doesn't have much pull or power, and the top gear is like an overdrive that is affected by a headwind or any incline. But if I want to ride fast, I have other bikes for that. This is for putting down single-lane country roads and tracks while taking in the sights and sounds of the Aussie bush. Riding Hood already loves it, and I know I do too. It's going to look great parked next to my other retro-inspired bikes, the Kawasaki Z900 RS and Harley-Davidson Heritage Softail Classic. It's a much different size engine and power output, but with peak torque around 3,000 RPMs and horsepower just above 5,000, it will ride more like the Harley than the Kawasaki, minus a lot of pulling power. It looks more like a classic Japanese bike from the 70s though, and similar in that regard to my Z1 inspired Kawasaki. That's why the shape of the tank, seat, exhaust, mudguards and motor really caught my eye in images, videos and in the showroom. Although while looking similar, the sound of the stock pipe is equally as good but very different to the Z900 RS. I love them both. The GB350 is not going to blow your socks off in terms of thrill and eagerness, but it is a cute, charming and classy classic full of character, albeit in a low-powered, non-fast, leisurely way. That and the engaging sound of this bike is its appeal. If you want to relax in a laid-back manner that is totally engaging, this is the bike that I think will do it most, and it is a very rare bike in this day and age. The old-school simplistic motor was made specifically for this motorcycle, and doesn't look like it will be shared with any other model in the Honda range. And being made in Japan, it is going to be very reliable, with an old-school sound that is to die for. In the decision-making process, we looked at Royal Enfield and the Hunter, as well as Triumph Speed 400. They were both very high on our list. As for the other J-Series bikes in the Royal Enfield range, I'm not a fan of pea-shooter style exhausts, because simply they are not what I relate to. When I was a kid, Harleys and Japanese road bikes were the rage in Australia, and they didn't have pea-shooter exhausts, which is why if I buy a big Bonneville style machine, it will be the Speed 900 or 1200 with the style of exhaust shape I'm more familiar with. The Speedmaster also looks great. I think the timing of the purchase of this bike now is just right after the announcement of the 2025 GB350S being released in Europe and the UK from March. The slightly different variant, GB350R, has been available in Australia for a year, but they have been hard to find. I've looked in various dealerships because I wanted to see one in person before pulling the trigger, and they were nowhere to be seen. But on the weekend I was driving past a dealer and there was a white one sitting outside the main entrance. I didn't know white was a colour option because on the website they appear to only come in matte black or matte blue. We called in so Riding Hood could sit on one and try it for size. They said they hadn't had any before because they were hard to get hold of. The two bikes, one black and one white, had only come in 2 days before, and we jumped on the opportunity. I like the blue and white, but Riding Hood loved the black, which was good news because white was already a demonstrator, so the black one in the showroom we could buy straight away. It's great she gets her favourite colour because she will be riding this bike the most. It is also the same colour as her Suzuki Bergman 200, so it must have been fate when we saw this bike driving past. After posting a recent video explaining a decision had been made and what the bike will be used for, a few people guessed it might be the Triumph Trident or Kawasaki Z650 RS. Both are great suggestions, but Riding Hood tried sitting on the Trident and felt intimidated by it, so I realise she is not quite ready for a mid-size bike just yet. But she is so keen to continue her journey of learning to ride with gears, she may be ready for one of those within 12 months. And with news Honda is preparing to bring out a GB500 in a similar style to the 350, that could be the perfect bike to step up to. Riding Hood loved the Triumph Speed 400 and Royal Enfield Hunter. Because of that, I also suggested she try the Japanese-made Honda GB350. I have had such good experiences with the Big Four over the last 4 decades. Touch wood, I have never had a single issue with any of my new Japanese bikes.
You can smell that new bike smell.
And when Riding Hood looked at and sat on a GB350, she liked it just as much as the Hunter, which is similar in size, power and weight. The Speed 400 is water-cooled and has double the power, and she liked the light weight of that bike but preferred the Hunter. Now this video is just the explanation of what we chose and why. I'll follow it up in the next few days with a first impressions ride and then a full review before lining it up next to my other 2 heritage-inspired machines from Kawasaki and Harley-Davidson and doing a comparison ride. Thanks for taking some valuable time out of your day to watch this. And if you think this channel is okay and informative, please like and subscribe and join us on future journeys. And if you want to follow Riding Hood's Learning to Ride with Peers journey, we'll be posting videos on her Riding Hood YouTube channel. Thank you and have a great day.
So do you like it?
I do like it.
Good. And it's not that much different to the one you were learning on before, is it?
No.
But the brakes are a lot better. They're not going to grab. It's ABS that won't lock up. Traction control, so nothing's going to slip out on you. It's not much heavier. It's not much different riding position, but it's just really cool.
It is cool.
Yeah. Cool bike for a cool girl.
Thank you. It's pretty cool too.